and welcome to episode You Love Comic Books. This YouTube show showcases my recent comic book hauls, comic speculations, and stuff from my collection. Alright, I have an amazing, awesome, beautiful haul for you. This one is just a bunch of different books from a bunch of different stores, a bunch of different locations, a lot of really awesome finds, a lot of comic book half-off sales, amazing dollar bin finds, 50-cent finds, and some non-dollar bin, but not too expensive, some really awesome books in this haul. So you know what? You're in for quite the ride. So before I get into this amazing, beautiful haul, smash that like button. Leave a comment if you want to. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Become part of the You Love Comic Books conversation. Smash that bell for notifications. All right, let's get into this. So, Batman, Absolute Batman, Annual 1. This was well advertised. A little controversial. I don't know why it would be. Batman versus a bunch of racists shouldn't never be a controversial thing. Like, who's offended by this? This was great. Danny Warren Johnson having Batman do, like, awesome wrestling moves, kind of, on these guys. There's, like, a great panel that's been going around where the guy screams, "White power," and he smacks his arm in half. It's a cool little, like, story that's, like, about his dad. Again, this is not the same Batman. This is not the same the name's Bruce Wayne, but it's different. It's not. He doesn't come from a rich family or anything like that. It was an awesome get. And I'm glad I'm glad I'm reading the series. It's really good. Absolute Batman. I figured I'd buy the cover B. And again, this is also the origin of the Batmobile, which explains, like, how does this guy because he doesn't have the money or the resources like Bruce Wayne from the regular DC universe has. He's just comes from, like, a middle-class, working-class family. How did he get this? Well, we find out. It's really not that crazy of a story, but that's a cool cover. Then I picked this silly book up because, why not? It's the first cover appearance of Logo. It's kind of corny. It's funny. It's the Wolverine Lobo amalgam. I would have called them Wobo. Wobo would have been better. Or Wovo. Wolverine. All right, this is from their dollar bins at the store. They always have good, cool stuff. They usually have a deal, buy 12, pay 10. But you know what? This time I didn't have 12. I didn't want to force it. I just bought what I actually want. Stranger Things #1 from Dark Horse. This is the first Stranger Things comic, and this is a variant cover. With season 5 coming out, I think this will have a little bit of hype behind it. Season 5 does look good. GoBots #2, and everybody is like 100 years old now. So this is that Tom Scioli series that came out years ago. This is from IDW, GoBots. I don't know if you remember them. They were kind of like the poor man's Transformers. My favorite was his character, Tank. And his transforming ability was literally you just folded him in half. That was it. You just folded him in half. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Now, they had more intricate transformations. That one was just the most ridiculous. So that was cool. They didn't have the full series, but they had #2 cover A, #3 cover A, and #5. And I think this was just a 5-issue series, so I just got to find issue 1 and 4. So that's cool. And then I picked this one up. I figured in the dollar bin, why not? You know, it's like this is Jeff the Shark, the Art Germ variant. That's cute. Even though I do prefer it when it's like more simpler of a drawing, like that. But that is still fun. This is a pretty cool get for $1. Werewolf by Night Virgin Foil variant. What year did this come out? I think it's came out this year. Yeah. And there's like nothing wrong with it. I was shocked this was in the dollar bin. I mean, especially like I picked this up before Halloween. You know, you think this would have sold. Let's see, what year is it from? Oh, it's last year. Whatever. That's pretty cool, though. Happy to grab that just for $1. It looks pretty sick, too. I like the, this is like I think this is like one of the better silver foils I've seen recently. I feel like, back in the day, the funny thing is everybody always made fun of the 90s with all their like gimmicky covers, but I felt like there was more thought put into them. Like this looks like it was designed for a silver foil, but I feel like now most of the time they're just taking covers and just making them silver foil. I'm just knocking these guys. You know what? They're going away. They make silver foil variants now, and all they're doing is just take like a cover like this and turn it into a silver foil cover. And honestly, it doesn't look that great half the time. This looks good because it minimizes the artwork, and look, it knocks out the blacks with the trees and everything. So that's a really cool gimmicky cover. Okay, this was a book I got at Second Charles. It was $2.99. I figured I was looking through it, I didn't find anything, but then I saw this Uncle Scrooge number 34 from IDW cover B. When I saw this, I said, okay, this looks like a special cover. And I looked it up, and it sells for like 20 to 30 bucks. Carl Barks is his name, and I think he did a lot of old Uncle Scrooge, and this is his artwork. I could tell, you look at these things, and like, oh, okay, this is like a special variant cover. So that's pretty cool. And then this is from another store. I got 2 books here. I always find stuff there. They have like a $2 bin. So this is pretty cool. Marvel Age 129. Anytime I see Marvel Age books, I always go to Key Collector because I always want to try to get all the keys. And this one is considered a key. This is an Adam Hughes cover, actually, as you can tell by the image in the center. That's right. Captain America's shield gives it away. And why does it look like... I like that the Black Knight looks like he's holding Luke's green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. No, I'm talking about Scarlet Witch in the center. Hell yeah. And then this is pretty cool. Clayface, Batman, One Bad Day, Clayface number 1. I picked this one just because, one, it's a cool cover. This book was like, I don't know, kind of expensive when it came out. How much was it? It's like prestige format books. I bet you it was like 10 bucks. $8. Okay, close enough. So, and there's a Clayface movie. I think they already wrapped shooting it. So I just feel like there'll be some hype behind that. All right, this is kind of cool. A little late in the game on these, but you know what? For the price they were, I'm going to shout out Easy Comics and Collectibles. Is that his name? Easy. Now, this guy posted something on Instagram, and he's like, go to Milk Bones. They reduced the price of the Superman comics. So, everyone went crazy. The comics sold out immediately before the movie came out, and people were charging crazy amounts of money for them. And then they did like a second run. And I don't know what the deal is, if they were just sitting on these and just slowly releasing them. I don't think this is considered a reprint of any kind. But they were marked down to just $1.99 each. I think they were just $5, and I was like, okay, I'll go buy them. So I bought. Originally, I was just gonna buy one, but then like the shipping and handling was like $8, and then I was like, nah, I'm not. So I'm basically paying 10 really, and then no, actually it was more than 8. It was like $10. So I bought 4, and I had dogs, so they'll eat the dog bones. So it ended up being like 20, like $5 a box basically with the shipping. You always gotta include, when you're buying stuff online, you always gotta consider the shipping too. That's why I always say, like, I'd rather go give money in a store if it's a little bit more money and I don't have to like look for it anywhere else. Whatever. But this is cool. Happy to finally get this. This is kind of interesting. I thought it was gonna be like really flimsy. I mean, yeah, I could see, it's got some dings. This is like all cardstock, even the actual pages. So it's not like a long book or anything, but even the pages are the same paperweight as the cover. So every page is cardstock. So that's fun. And you know what? It's an actual unique story. They didn't just take some comic, like reprint, like an old crypto comic. So that's fun. And, like Superman's in the costume, the Superman movie. So so thanks to EZ for sharing that information. Happy to get this. All right, this was from a store that was having a half off sale. So basically they have $3 bins. The $3 bins all became $1.50 bins. And then I just got a couple of non-$3 books that were half off as well. This one was free, obviously. Venom Lethal Protector. Hey, that's you, guy. Venom Lethal Protector. number one, this is the trick or read variant. I think this is one of the cooler variants, actually. So I thought that was fun. And this is still hands down one of the best Venom covers. It's like the simplicity behind it. It's Bagley, right? It's just, yeah. And with the original red foil cover. All right. This one, so this was priced at $3, so it was $1.50. I picked this up because I was like, you know what? I had this comic, and for decades, I had it as a double cover. But, I don't like selling stuff in my breaking up a run if I don't have one to replace it. So I got this one to replace it. This, unfortunately, is not a double cover, but I did put up my double cover and sold it immediately for like $50. Like, it sold like, I don't even know, a half hour. It's crazy, like how eBay is. It's like, I'll put something on eBay and it'll take either 10 minutes to sell or like a year, depending on what it is. Superman, the Man of Tomorrow, number one. This, again, speaking of Superman, from that movie, this sequel was announced. This title was Man of Tomorrow. There was a little bit of a spike, but obviously it's kind of calmed down. But this is like a really minty copy of this. So happy to grab that. Punisher Suicide Run, number 86. Not just is it in a sick, speaking of sick foil covers, where it looks like it was actually created. See what I mean? They designed these covers, and they're embossed. Like, this is, like, people complained about, like, this comic was $2.95, which was, expensive for 1993 when you think about it. But, I mean, look at this. Look what the gimmick. Like, it's embossed, it's foil. And it's a newsstand. I didn't know that. I didn't realize, like, the newsstands, and I guess that's true, because I think the Venom exists as a newsstand. That the gimmicks made it to the newsstand. I always thought it would just be the standard. That's really cool. This is, like, later in the run, too. I don't know who did the cover, but this thing's, like, mint condition. So that's pretty awesome in the for $1.50. And then, speaking of Punisher, they got this in a newsstand as well. Marvel Tales 209. So there's two Marvel Tales reprints Punisher's first issue twice. One's like issue 95, I think. And that looks like the original cover, except instead of yellow, it has a red background. And then this one, they went with, I'm assuming this is Mike Zeck. It looks like a Mike Zeck drawing of Punisher. This came out in 87, so much later. The other one was like in the 70s. And so that's pretty cool. And this book has a little bit of value, being a reprint of the original series. So that's cool. Spider-Punk number one, first issue of his either miniseries or one shot. I forgot what this was for, but I figured why not? They announced a Spider-Punk movie. I doubt that we'll ever see anything like that. Maybe they'll do like a special or something. I'm like, when's this third movie, Into the Spider-Verse, coming out? It keeps getting like delayed. Originally, they used like the writers and actor strike as an excuse, but that was BS. I totally call BS on that. Void Rivals number one, second printing. So the key thing about this book was when this book initially came out, no one knew what it was. And then in the end, there's a big reveal. Something in the background transforms and it's Jetfire and he like flies away, which signified that Skybound Image, Robert Kirkman, got the rights to Transformers. And then he announced he was calling it the Energon Universe and included G.I. Joe. And now they released there's going to be a cartoon, I guess, a la Invincible, where it's going to be more adult and like it's going to be violent, probably like the Transformers comic. If you look at that first issue, you see like Starscream squish a person and you see blood splurt. It's probably going to be on that level. But this is pretty sick. I never actually seen this. So this is the second printing with Jetfire on the cover. So that's pretty cool. This is funny. I saw this and I was like, all right, I'm getting this. Neon Joe Werewolf Hunter. This is like a promo comic for a Adult Swim show. And it stars this guy. So funny. This guy, I don't know the actor's name, but he was on another show called like Delocated. And it was supposed to be like a guy who was like wanted by the mob or something, and he was like an informant. So he wears a mask throughout the show, but you knew it was him. And also his voice was like the I I was trying to hide from the mob. You know what I mean? Like you would watch those shows and there'd be like a guy in the dark and they would like alter his voice so he wouldn't get caught. And the whole show has him with that voice. And I guess this was, I don't know if this one might only lasted like one season, but Neon Joe Werewolf Hunter. It's just like making fun of like old cheesy shows. And it's just funny because he does wear like this neon color like suit, which I would think would make him a easy target in the dark. But it does have a really nice Dan Panosian cover on here, as you can see. So that's kind of funny. All right, I always like finding these in the cheap bins. Legends of Dark Knight, number 63, Climax, is the last part of Night's End, where Batman's back from his back being broken, and he's taken on Jean-Paul Valley, who became the new Batman, but also became a little kooky. It's a DC Universe logo variant. That's why I picked it up. Also, I've never seen this one before. This one has a little bit of value. That one, a bit, but this one has more value. Batman Shadow of the Bat, number 52, DC Universe logo. That's pretty cool. Never seen that before. Man of Steel, number 19. Anytime I see these in cheap bins, I'll usually pick them up because I like to bulk them out. And like I said, I've said this in the past, like Superman Doomsday, if you have like the set, like the 6 parts of the Death of Superman and even that Justice League comic, you could get like anywhere for like 40 to 50 bucks for it. So anytime I find them for the cheap, I think it's always worth like getting it. Speaking of which, I got this one. I paid more than I wanted. It was $10, but I got it for $5 because it was half off. Superman Man of Steel 18. Speaking of which, first appearance of Doomsday. I always thought that's like a sick cover. And it's a newsstand, so that's really cool. And then the last one from this store, I still have a bunch left. So this is a great haul. Do me a favor if you've done so already, hit that like button. Speaking of easy, shout out to him. I've seen him mention this comic in the past. I'm sure he got this for like 10 cents. This guy finds he gets these like holes, he goes to like other places besides eBay. He goes to like all these other auction sites and he just lucks out sometimes here. He sees like a comic peeking in there and he'll get like a bin of comics for like $20 and there's like 50 to 100 comics in there, right? And a lot of it will be fluff, but then in there is like 2 or 3 keys that are worth like 50 to 100 bucks each, or they're just rare books or cool books. And so I think he's mentioned this book before. So, and I've seen other people mention this too. NBC Comics Saturday Morning from Harvey Comics, fall 1991. This is considered the first comic appearance of Michael Jordan. And you got Wayne Gretzky, and I forgot who that guy is. I don't think that's Bo Jackson. I don't know. But that's Michael Jordan looking like someone from Fat Albert. But that's his first comic appearance. So this has a little bit of value. Oh, and there's Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. And whatever that guy is. So yeah, that's pretty cool from this store. I've been happy to get. So it was $6. So that was an awesome find. All right, this is from another store, and they're doing a sale. I've been going to this guy a lot. He's going to be, he's actually moving. So he's going to do this sale up until he closes, because he just wants to get rid of a ton of stuff. So he has like expanded the dollar bins. His dollar bins are like, he's got like so many boxes. Like there's boxes all over the floor. And so the dollar bins are actually 50-cent bins, which is even better. So I got Mullet Cop, The Flavor of Danger from Dom Lintern. That's pretty funny. And then Mullet Cop, I'm assuming that's the second one. And this is like be the first Mullet Cop. And this is from Scout Comics. The guy working there he's like, why would he put that in there? He's like, this book was like $8 and that one was like $7. I'm like, I don't know. But I got them both for $1 altogether. So that's pretty sick. This is interesting. I was actually thinking of this comic when Peacemaker was out. Because this is Peacemaker season 2. He goes to the other universe and you find out it's the universe that the U.S., the Nazis win World War II and they take over the U.S. Now, the thing is, they never called it Earth X. This is Earth X. So Multiversity was a Grant Morrison, kind of like a series of like one-shots. I think it might have a little bit of connective tissue. And this one is the This is the Earth X story where there's a freedom fighters that has like Uncle Sam and a bunch of other characters, and they go against like a Nazi Superman. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm surprised this book didn't like pick up a bit. It's also got Jim Lee art. Like he does the whole comic. So that makes it, I feel like, kind of special. This is pretty cool. I didn't know about this one. Gen 13 #1, but this is the second print. This is the first issue. So there's two #1s. There's the one, the ongoing series, and then there was like I guess it's 5 issues, the first series. And this is the second print to the first one. So I never seen that before. So that's really cool for just 50 cents. This is kind of fun for just 50 cents each. Nash preview. And then the Nash #1. This is Kevin Nash, the wrestler. He was in the NWO. What was he? They call him Big Easy or something. He had what was his name? I don't know. He had a bunch of nicknames. This is pretty cool. I saw this, and I actually looked it up. This has a bit of value. Big Apple Collectible Convention presents the National Comic Book Art Toy Show Expo, November 12th and 14th, 1999, with this Michael Turner cover. That's pretty cool. So happy to get that for 50 cents. This is, speaking of Uncle Sam, this was fun for just 50 cents. This, it's almost like it's like a graphic novel. It's like a reprint. I thought that was awesome. I'll take a look at that for just 50 cents. This is pretty cool. So I got Mythos 1 for Ghost Rider. I remember when this came out years ago. Mythos Hulk. It looks like the artist just said, I'm done. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to render it anymore. They're just like, gonna add a couple of highlights and break them up a little bit, sculpt them out more, but that looks fine. I mean, it is cool. It is cool. I ain't gonna lie. And then I got 2 of these, and I looked this up. I don't know why. There were a bunch of sales for this for like $25. Anybody know why this book is a big deal? Is it just like not that's a cool cover. Is it just not, did they just not print a lot of them? I don't know, but for 50 cents each, I wasn't gonna complain, so that's pretty cool. Men of War #1. That's pretty cool for like an army series from the late 70s from DC Comics. The only thing that stinks is someone wrote 519 on it, but besides that, that's pretty cool. This is a great find for just 50 cents. I was shocked to see this in here. This is the first appearance of Jessica Cruz. Is that her name? She comes Green Lantern. This is her first full appearance. She has like a cameo in I think 29 or 30. And she also has like a very small cameo in a Green Lantern comic that came out around the same time. So that's pretty cool and that's her right there in the center with the light. She gets basically is this after Forever Evil? It might be. Forever Evil is like where Earth 3 guys come in and they're all evil versions of everybody. And the Power Ring was kind of like the Green Lantern ring of that universe, but it worked differently. All right. This was priced at $3, but for just $1.50, I wasn't going to pass this up. Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Cartoon Network, issue 13. I found a lucky penny, and it's a newsstand. That's really sick. A lot of these Cartoon Network books have a bit of value. Like, they really do. This is pretty cool, too. This has a little bit of value. Spider-Man Adventures #8, newsstand, priced at $4. It was $2. This is the first Black Suit Spider-Man in the cartoon universe. I do find it interesting they chose issue 8 to do this in, too, because that's the Secret Wars issue number, where Peter Parker gets the black suit also. The regular Marvel, proper universe, not cartoon. Speaking of gimmicky covers, his light will burn forever. Green Lantern #81, the death of Hal Jordan, or like his memorial. And this is pretty sick. This is like a thick. This thing is like foil, and it's got like they're trying to give like this texture of a grave. That is, again, these gimmicky covers, man, this was $3.95 back in the day. If they did this now, I don't even know what they would charge. I don't even know if they would be able to do it. But again, it's like the foil is chosen right. It's right in the center. Behind that, it just works. That's a really sick cover. I was like, and for just $3, I wasn't going to pass on that. It was priced at $6. And then this one, another Green Lantern book. This is the last issue of that volume. For $1.50, I wasn't going to pass it up, so it was priced at $3. Green Lanterns, $181, the last issue of that series. Before, I guess, Hal Jordan officially comes back and they do the whole rebirth. So that's pretty cool. All right, I got a couple left. Star Wars, number 56. That's a pretty good one. This is a little bit of a key. Lobot, Lando. There's a couple issues I remember. They go back to Cloud City, and that was pretty cool. It's in decent condition. It's got a little staining on the back or whatever, but for just $3, I wasn't going to pass that up. Speaking of awesome books for the cheap, Godzilla number 8 with him going against the Red Ronin just for $3. Again, condition, it's probably like a fine plus. I needed this one for the run, and then but it doesn't matter. Anytime I see Godzilla books for the cheap, I will buy them. And then what I do is I look at what my collection, what I have, and the ones that I swap out, either it's in worse condition, I just resell it, or I sell the older one and keep the new one. And these books, they sell easily on like there's Godzilla collectors out there, and I'll get more of my, I'll get a good like decent little chunk of change out of them. Nothing crazy, but Godzilla number 2. Now, he's got a big old bend there. I don't know if that could be pressed out, maybe, but that's a big old bend. But for just $3, Godzilla number 2, that's not bad. And then Godzilla number 3, priced at $9, so it was $4.50. This is the Champions appearance. It's just funny how the characters show up. Like the Avengers show up in 23. Dum Dum Dugan, that guy, like he's like Nick Fury's guy. He's like, in this series, he's like the one chasing Godzilla. It's like so weird. It's crazy how these like licensed characters, if they were able to like incorporate them into their universe in a way. G.I. Joe number 4, priced at $10 for just $5 at a newsstand. This is really nice. Like, it's in really nice condition, actually. It's like a VF Plus, VF Near Mint copy. So that's pretty cool. I needed this one. I have 1, 2, and 3. I needed 4. I think I need 5 also. I don't know. But as I see them for the cheap, I'll pick them up. I recently got 155. That video will air before this one. That was an expensive book for me, but I wasn't going to pass it up. And then the last one for the haul, and this is just a classic Neil Adams cover, an iconic cover. I don't know if this recreates this, but this comic this is a cover, one of those covers that gets homaged all the time. Superman 243. It's the first appearance of a character. I don't think that's not Lois Lane. I don't think so. Now, this is supposedly like a reprint story, but the cover's iconic. The cover's not a reprint. So it was priced at $15. It was only $7.50. This goes for a lot more, especially in this condition. I would say, again, like a VF minus. Really nice, though. Happy to grab that one. There's a couple of like really iconic covers from this time period. There's like the one with him kneeling to Sapphire, whatever her name is, that she's usually a Green Lantern villain. So yeah, this was a sick, awesome haul. Lots of books here, but a lot of amazing deals, a lot of awesome finds. Happy to get all of them. So like, yeah, that was cool. The G.I. Joe, Godzilla's always awesome. Needed that one, so that's cool. Any old Star Wars books on the cheap is always good. These Green Lantern books were cool. This is an awesome Spider-Man cartoon cover. The Space Ghost is great find. This is cool. Men of War, that's fun. These Mythos. Blobby Hulk. Ghost Rider is pretty cool. Uncle Sam, this Applecom convention thing. Kevin Nash, that's cool. Gen 13 reprint. I'm just going out there on Multiversity, Mullet Cop, and Mullet Cop. NBC Comics, Michael Jordan, first comic appearance. Doomsdays, DC Universe logo variants. Neon Joe. This Void Rivals that sets up the Energon universe. These this awesome foil Punisher, Silver Surfer, awesome fun reprint free book. This fun little book from Milkbone. Look at that. It finally paid off to have a dog. Clayface. This fancy Uncle Scrooge. You know what? I'll have it land on that because I still think that's such a cool cover. So yeah, this was an all. You know what? No, I'm gonna put the last one being this. This was a great haul. So do me a favor if you haven't done so already. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Smash that bell for notifications. There could be links in all my videos. One's for my Instagram where I post stuff from the hauls, and one is also for my eBay where I sell comics, trades, video games, t-shirts, records, and more. You're going to see a previous video here. You're going to see a previous video there. You're going to smash the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.